So I got a little bit of a different one for you all today. We're going to be reacting to Diablo 4's I Just Lost $6,000. I'm a little personally interested in this. For those of you that don't know, he and I have been doing a dual hardcore series or every day or so on his live stream. And on top of that, we've been working together for a little bit over a year in total because of all the similar games that we've been covering over the course of time. And so I'm curious where the $6,000 is coming from. And of course, YouTube keeps recommending it to me every single time I open the page. So I'll leave a link to this down below if you guys want to check out the original video. Let's see what he has to say. And of course, a little bit of commentary here about it.
I have lost a total of $6,000 to one major mistake. I had a bit of a funny story for you. It's painful for me. It might be funny for you. You see, if you've been watching me a while, you know the original YouTube channel I had is Darth Microtransaction, and what we actually did was cover mobile games, okay? Primarily mobile games, and you can see here I played a game called Exos Heroes. Literally spent thousands of dollars in this game. The joke was on me because they shut it down in May of this year, and any of the characters I bought, any of the progress I had made, all of that went right into the dumpster because the game no longer even exists. And I went out of my way to tell my audience, you should be careful when spending money on these games because you need to realize they can shut down at some point and you don't actually own anything in the game. They can literally just...
Yeah, so I actually watched DM or his original channel, Darth Microtransaction, back when he used to cover Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and when that game came out, I was like, I don't want to play mobile games. I'm not a huge mobile game fan. And then eventually I was like, you know what? It's the only Star Wars game that I could play on mobile, really, that I kind of just play on the side. And I actually really enjoyed it. So I played quite a few different mobile games, and he's absolutely right that basically, the core principle of mobile games in general is this monetization model where it encourages you to spend money at any point in the game. I mean, in life, that's generally true. Everyone wants to get you to spend money, but it can be very dangerous. Not only just for the reasons that he mentioned, which is it's a mobile game, it's a game, and any money that you spend in a game can just shut down at any point. So you're not getting like permanent value, you know, like food or just saving the money. So you have to be very careful, but they also can be very addictive. Now, when I played the games, I never spent any money in it just because I enjoyed it more so that way, unless I started making videos on it, which I had done. And let me tell you, it can get very slippery very quickly. So definitely be careful if you guys are entering this field. And to be honest, playing Diablo 4, playing Diablo 3, getting back into like League of Legends and Guild Wars 2 and all these other games that I've been playing, mobile games are just so much worse in terms of quality.
Just ban you and they can just tell you the reason. We just don't like your face and you literally have to accept that. Now, if you've watched me on the previous Diablo channel, you'll know that that channel actually started with a game called Marvel Future Revolution. And this was actually my very first time on YouTube getting any amount of views that actually mattered. During this time, I got over 1 million views in a month. I think it was like 2 point something million at one point. And I was freaking out because I was very excited that YouTube was going well. For me, that was a really big deal. I've always been a tiny little guy. And you'll see that I fell prey to the same thought process I had in Exos Heroes, what weekly whale rewards look like, you know, what to buy. I did the same thing, you know, $350 in Omega cards, etc. And once again, barely made any money in this game because when you spend thousands of dollars on the game, you're not leaving a very big profit margin for yourself as a YouTuber now, are you? And I was still not a very big YouTuber. So for me,
so a couple things. First off, 1 million views in a month is insane. The average YouTube channel will take 6 to 24 months to grow from 0 to 1,000 subscribers. And I know Darth did that quicker, and I know that I did that quicker. I went from 0 to 1,000 in the first month of me playing or me creating content because I took YouTube very seriously. Now, an important thing to note about YouTube monetization is that mobile games in general, because they're pay to win, they have a higher paying amount per viewer. I'm trying to put this in words that everyone will understand, but basically YouTube pays per view, per watch time, and all this other things. And generally speaking, the people that watch mobile games are more likely to spend on advertisements on that YouTube puts out on those videos. So YouTube will pay the creator more money for the viewer that's watching mobile game content. And so oftentimes what happens though is that you have to spend money in the game to create content. And so you actually end up making oftentimes similar, if not less money than your standard PC games because PC games offer less money to the creator due to the players not investing as much into the advertisements served to them. So if you play it free to play, you can make a lot of money on a smaller amount of views. Like 1 million views can be a lot of money. That you can expect if it's like a pretty solid mobile game, you can expect like $7,000 a month, which isn't like a crazy amount for a lot of people, but it is a very above average amount. But keep in mind that you're spending a large portion of that back into the game. So, it can really depend on who you are, what you're playing, and of course what content and how much YouTube's paying and all that other stuff.
Me, I was basically stupid once again. But here's where the joke really just doubles down on me, and the point that I want to make today. Look at this. This game, which is not even that old, these videos are as of a year ago. Marvel Future Revolution will shut down on August 25th, 2023. They are literally closing the doors on another one. So this is not one video game that I've spent literally thousands on. It's 2 video games within the last 3 years that have taken basically my money for me giving it to them and then just turned the game off. Literally turned the game off. All of the money that has gone into this game is now completely deleted.
Just gone. Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't play much Marvel Future Revolution, but this game, it was not that old. And in fact, most mobile games are that cash grab because their focus is monetization rather than quality of the game, generally speaking. And to be honest, every game has to make money, but mobile games definitely go way past that line and make it terrible, in my opinion.
And this same lesson will be applied to Diablo Immortal at some point when all of the progress I've made on Diablo Immortal gets deleted whenever the servers decide to shut off down the years. Now, I believe that one's going to go on a little longer, but the point is the same no matter what game we are talking about, and we can transition this lesson into Diablo 4. Now, I actually think the characters in Diablo 4 look pretty good for free,
amazing.
But there is actually a shop in which you can go in here and you can purchase cosmetics. Now, the cosmetics and the microtransactions are a huge point of contention for people. And I'm not here to tell you whether or not transactions should be allowed. I have microtransaction in the name of my username. What I'm here to tell
What I will say about this is I think it's fine to offer cosmetics in addition. I think that's totally fine. I don't really see a negative in adding additional cosmetics that you spend money for with no actual power attached to them. There are, however, a couple issues with it. Like, for example, if the base cosmetics in the game were not good, then I'd be like, oh, well, that kind of removes some of the incentive to grind out the game. So I could see some issues with that. But the prices on the Diablo 4 cosmetics are ridiculously high. I have not purchased a single one. I don't plan on purchasing a single one. In fact, I don't even know if I'm going to purchase the Battle Pass, even as someone who is dedicated and playing this for somewhat of a job right now, just to go to show you how much the cosmetics can be. So I definitely would agree. I recommend extreme caution when going in and potentially purchasing some of these because honestly, the cosmetics look really good in the game already. So I don't really see a need, at least personally, to actually buy some of these things. They're so expensive.
Tell you today is that I have learned the lesson not once, but twice now that if you decide to go down the route of basically any game and you put a ton of money into it, even if you're doing it for work, at some point that game is going to either shut down, you will get bored of the game. What I'm saying is the money will be consumed. Now, this isn't necessarily 100% a bad thing. You might actually really enjoy the product when you get it. Let's say you purchase a skin for $10. You enjoy the skin while you have it. The game shuts down and you're not angry and begrudged because the game shut down at some point. You enjoy the cosmetics while you had them. That's perfectly fine. I can understand the argument of that.
Yeah, a real important thing here, I would agree 100%. You have to treat these cosmetics and things inside the game as an entertainment fee, almost as if you're going on vacation and you've set aside a couple of extra dollars for, hey, I'm going to go out and get some really nice food, or I'm going to go out and, get a souvenir or whatever. That's how I would treat these things. do not treat these things as something that, oh, I'm going to get value out of this or anything like that. Treat it as entertainment funds. And if you're going to go for it, it's going to be temporary and just for that moment of enjoyment.
But I've very consistently seen the argument that you are investing in the game if you put money into it, or you're supporting the game industry in the long run. I've heard a lot of, in what is, in my opinion, sort of copium type of takes of when you put the money into a game, it is an investment, or it is something that is going to build value later on, etc. And I want to tell you, as somebody who has literally done this, as a career for a while, any money you put into the game, in my opinion, should be considered consumed, gone, never see it again, does not build value in anything, and is only like the price of a movie ticket, effectively.
Yes.
This is what I've learned for myself, okay? I'm not trying to preach and tell you how to live your life. I'm just saying, for me, what I've learned with the thousands of dollars I have effectively lost in these games is that when you hand them into a game, you are basically punching a train ticket of a one-way purchase that is only valuable if you enjoyed the process of getting to that end destination.
100%. By the way, I think there's Halo music going on, and I'm all for that. 100% right here. I already said this earlier, but yeah. Treat it as some sort of entertainment fund. You're not going to get the money back. You're not supporting the game in a meaningful way. I don't think you should go into the game. I mean, you can think however you want, but I would highly recommend against trying to justify purchases because it can be dangerous. And at the end of the day, I don't want to see people kind of going after something that could be potentially dangerous for their future. And I mean this as sort of like a very extreme sense because most people are not going to be that way. But there are a few that can ride down that line of trying to justify some of the purchases by saying, oh, I like the game, I'm supporting the company or whatever it is. And to be honest, guys, take it for what it is. Most game companies are there to make money. I don't really see a reason, at least me personally, to go for trying to support something like Blizzard, for example. I mean, they're a multi-million, absolutely insanely large company. If you want to support the game, buy the game. If you want to get a cosmetic. Totally great. But I wouldn't go down to say, yeah, I'm doing it because I'm supporting the game or I'm getting some sort of investment inside the game. That's definitely a very dangerous path to follow.
AKA this cosmetic, if you choose to buy this for $8 or $10 or whatever it is in the backpack, this doesn't actually do anything for you and shouldn't be considered a smart purchase. It should only be used if you think it looks cool and you're cool with realizing it does nothing. Now, this might actually seem like a brain dead obvious take, but here's the reality of it. I have covered these mobile games across multiple channels for a long time, and this is not the norm that people think. I hear this concept of I'm putting it in because the game's going to get better all of the time. I hear this all of the time. People are saying that, well, I'm mad at the gaming company because I've been buying these items in the game and they should take my money and develop it into what it should.
This is definitely more prominent in mobile gaming, but even in PC gaming, I've seen this take a lot, especially the kind of comment where it's like, yeah, I'm going to buy the game. I'm going to support the company. Heck, even the kind of a logical process that follows. Granted, you don't want to go about and not purchase a game and try to go against terms of service. You always want to go with terms of service, but the same logic applies where it's like you buying the game is the only way that you should be supporting the game company. In my opinion, you should treat these as if they are your product or you're the customer, not that you're like some sort of investor into the game or game company. You should treat it as a product or some sort of service you're receiving. And that's it. That's as far as you can go because it could be very dangerous, as I said, particularly when we're considering mobile gaming. Okay.
I don't think you should think that way. I think when it comes to trying to spend money in microtransactions in these games, what is available now is what you should consider if it's worth it. For instance, if in the game you believe the game is currently worth the money to purchase, you should purchase the game. And if you think the cosmetics in the game are currently worth the money to purchase, you should purchase them. But at no point should you ever make a purchase of either a game or a microtransaction where you think, I am buying this with the long-term investment strategy of in the future, the game will be good, or in the future, the game will value my money. If it doesn't value your money now, or if the game is not good now, it doesn't deserve your money now. Now, I'll say my take on this, which is that I don't think cosmetics in the game have ever ruined a game for me. I played League of Legends, I played Overwatch, I played...
Yeah. So, agreed with this take. I'll say this. I pretty much have a very similar gaming background as Darth here, but even more so than this, I think that I've seen a lot of people go down this rabbit hole where they're trying to make the game what it wants to, or what they want it to be, or what they think it should be, rather than what it is. Take the game for what it is, and as he says, if it's going to be worth it for you in that moment, then do it. But don't think that you're going to get something in the future out of it. You see this mount? You're going to get that mount, okay? I've spent some money in League of Legends. In fact, I've spent more money than I have in League of Legends in any mobile game that I did before I started making content. I've spent a couple $100, and that's about as far as I got in League. And I did it because I enjoyed a specific character, and I enjoyed the skins associated with this. That's it. I just had fun with it. And to me, it was worth that $20, $30 price tag, which some of the skins in League can be very expensive.
You know, games that have cosmetic purchases. Granted, none of those games I've mentioned so far are games that have a box retail price as well. And the only part where I start to get bothered by things like cosmetics is, let's say, the very best looking cosmetic in the game, let's just use this one as an example, is only purchasable with money, and there is no RuneScape-like cosmetics where it's like, oh, he's got a party hat, or he's got a skill cape. Like, there needs to be something in the game that when you see it, you recognize the hard work, the dedication of actually playing the game. And if all of the cosmetics in the game look like dog shit, other than the ones you can spend money on, there's probably a problem. Now, I actually don't...
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier, but also we have things like in this game right now, we have like a mount skin that you only unlock by beating the pinnacle boss. You have the PvP mount skin. You have a lot of skins in general that you only earn through earning all the different items in the game. So I think the game does a really good job of this.
I think Diablo 4 is a problem in cosmetics. I know I'm fairly positive about the game, so you can remove some of my bias out of the equation if you want, but I haven't spent any money on cosmetics. And I think all my characters look pretty cool. And it didn't really seem very hard to make them look very cool, to be honest. And there's a lot of other cool outfits I could make them look like if I really wanted to. It just took a little bit of time to, you know, go kill some guys. This guy's only level 66, and he looks like a badass. So I don't really feel... In fact, I would argue the shop cosmetics honestly look just kind of bad.
True! I've been saying this for the past few days. I think the shop cosmetics, honestly, not only are they overpriced, but they're undervalued compared to the in-game cosmetics. I've gotten flamed for the way my rogue looks. I don't care. I think he looks cool. And I'm not one to swap up around. Honestly, cosmetics don't really matter that much to me, especially in a game like this where you're isometric and you're not even looking at your character a whole lot. You're looking at the big explosions and the characters around you. Whereas like in a game like League of Legends, which I actually do like skins, or like Guild Wars 2, where I also do like skins, those are like more core, you're focused on your character, or you have a natural sense of progression. We're literally just going to create new characters starting next season. Cosmetics mean hardly anything to me.
I actually think most of the shop cosmetics look pretty bad. I've seen a couple I thought look pretty good. And if you're a druid, I don't know why you would buy it anyway, because you're going to spend most of your time as a werebear or werewolf, so you're not even going to see your cosmetics. So for me, the cosmetics don't ruin the game in Diablo 4. But if you are going to do microtransactions, meaning battle passes, meaning things like your cosmetics, etc., at least try to take a moment to learn from me, who has spent way more than you'll ever be able to in cosmetic and battle passes in this game. In previous games, I have spent this, and I have lost that money with factually multiple of these games now having closed down, and I just watch any of my investment go right out the window when the servers turn off. So that's just my take on this situation. I'm seeing people talk about the pay to win stuff. I'm seeing people talk about the cosmetics. I'm seeing all of that. And I just wanted to give my take. I've lost thousands of dollars doing it before. I don't recommend anybody follow my footsteps, as it was a stupid decision in my own personal opinion. And even creating content, I have learned since then, you don't have to spend money to create content. In fact, it's arguable most people will actually appreciate your content more if you're not a gigantic well in these types of games, because it's more easily relatable to like the average guy. People don't have $50,000 to spend in games. For the most part, most people just don't. So while cosmetics don't ruin the game, it could ruin your wallet. That's pretty much what it breaks down to my take. Just be a smart, informed consumer, and you are an adult. You're welcome to make your own decisions. Love you all. Consider liking and subscribing, or I'll see you on the live stream, which will be in the pinned comment down below. I have lost a
So I want to add a couple things there, because I agree, but also I disagree with his last statement there, which is that, first off, if you're not a content creator, there are very few actual, I think, legitimate reasons that you should be spending money. And it really boils down to one thing, and that is, if you enjoy it and it is worth it, do it. Okay. If you're a content creator, there are two things you need to consider. One, you actually oftentimes do not need to spend money, like he's saying. I've had many games. In fact, the game that I started playing was a mobile game when I started my YouTube channel, and I didn't spend in that game at all for the first 7 months of me creating content. Okay. And that is because I didn't need to. There was no reason to. I played the game. I enjoyed the game. I made videos on it. I didn't need to spend a bunch of money. So he's absolutely right on that. But also at the same time, there are games that can be very competitive in the mobile space, where you do tend to spend a little bit of money in order for you to get early access and get a good video out, because you're able to test something before anyone else due to money. In fact, YouTube becomes pay to win in that sense when you do start to cover mobile games, which is why something like the PC game is equal opportunity for anyone creating content. I shouldn't say necessarily, because there are also like the setup factors that cost money, but at the end of the day, mobile games do have an inherent bias towards spending money from the content creator's perspective, and also the player's perspective, period. So although I would say there in some cases you're not going to be left too far behind, there are some cases where you just won't even be able to create a video because you haven't spent enough money in it. So I do think there's some value to it, but as someone who spent money in Diablo Immortal, which is basically the only game that I really spent quite a bit of money in for content, it was not worth it. It was not worth it at all, and I agree from that sense. I did not need to spend any money to create content, and in fact, the game had so much backlash, and rightly so, about how terrible the monetization was, that in fact it just created more negativity, and people could not relate, as he said. So I definitely, going back, even though I did make videos on the game, I would not have spent the same amount of money as I did if I had started creating content on the game today. And in fact, I would have just not created content on the game because, well, I wanted to play Diablo, and in fact, I found the game to be honestly a little bit boring after a while, even outside of the pay to win mess that it was. But completely agree with the majority of Darth's takes here, and it's kind of funny that this is the second time this has happened to him. I'm sure that this is not going to be the last, because I know he's covered quite a few games over the course of time, but I think that he's got some really solid advice. And I want to add one more thing to his advice, and that is that I think that everyone should just be very careful. I've seen a lot of takes, and this one actually personally matters to me as someone who has a wife and child. I've seen the comment on top of like, hey, I'm justifying this by investing into games, or I'm justifying X because whatever. I'm also seeing the comment where it's like, don't tell my wife I'm going to buy the skins. And I always found that to be just a little bit odd, because like, to me, that kind of maybe it is a joke for some people, but to me, it's not really a joke. And I definitely recommend you guys be careful, because a lot of people do fall under that path where it's like, I kind of want this skin really badly, but I know I shouldn't. And I don't want anyone to fall under that category, because it can be a really slippery slope very quickly. Okay. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Again, I will leave a link to his video and I'll leave a link to his live stream because you guys should definitely follow that. I'll probably be appearing there every once in a while just because we've been doing the hardcore series. And of course, I think that Darth has some pretty based takes in this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. And well, I'll see you all later today in the next video.